You want to make a list of all of the different products and keyword phrases that you want to target. If you can still refer to this list of yours that you've been creating and do this same type of thing without having to necessarily see everything all on one screen, that's fine. If you need to make a separate list for this particular purpose, that's quite all right too. I generally end up making a separate list for it though, and it'll start to look something a little like this, where I have my products here. As I mentioned before, this is going to work out better for this particular site to group everything into brands and do a couple different products on each of those brand pages. And then I also have all my informational content having to do with those different problems, or maybe just general info relating to this niche. All of this, again, is based on some kind of keyword information. And a decent portion of these, especially when you deal with these informational pages, a decent portion of these are actually low competition keywords that have a fairly decent amount of traffic available for them. So what I have done is tried to sort this information into a couple of different topics. My product pages obviously will all end up together for a section on solid state drives, or maybe a section on solid state drive brands. And then all of my informational content gets grouped together. However, you may end up wanting to split your informational content. If there is a very clear divide of two different kinds of information, then it might be worthwhile to do. For example, here, I could do general info on solid state drives and just have all of my articles in that category. But I could try to get a little more specific and maybe have a general information category that dealt with things like talking about hybrid solid state drives, comparisons between a solid state drive and a standard one, what is a solid state drive, generic information like that could be moved off to a different info category, as opposed to topics that relate to how to make your computer faster, Windows slow boot times, faster computers for gaming, things for video editing. Ultimately, if there is a very clear divide between your information, you do want to try to separate it. But your end goal is to end up with something like what you see on my screen here, where I have all the different pages that I want to create on my site. And again, this is all based off of my keyword data. If I look at my keyword data here, my Windows slow boot time ends up on a page. I have a couple different topics about gaming relating to solid state drives, which wraps into this article here. Best solid state drive for the money. Things for video editing, information about defragging solid state drives. Things like PCI Express. All this stuff is based on actual keyword research, as are my product selections. I have keyword data for the different products that I want to try to target within each of these individual brands. Ultimately, this is where you want to end up with your 20 pages. Also, though, make sure you're counting the generic pages of your website, your home page. You obviously need a page for that. I will be recommending for you to create an about page that has some basic information about your website, including The required disclosure for Amazon affiliates. I put this on the About page, so I also count that page as well. Then with my product section, I'm going to have 5 pages here in addition to my actual main category page for my products. So I have 6 here, 2 more up at the top, so that puts me to 12. My main category page here for all of my info content, and then I have 11 articles under that one. So that's 12 more pages here, plus my initial 8. I've got 20 total pages now. In addition to having an idea of what I'm going to be building on my site at this point, though, what this also does for me is allows me to group everything, allows me to get a clear picture of how I will structure my website and even how I will end up designing my website to look. This kind of thing, knowing it ahead of time, can help you to save a lot of effort down the road. And it can especially help you to avoid making websites that don't end up working out, that aren't able to get into the Google rankings to attract traffic, and then as a result are not able to refer Amazon sales. So you can add a lot of reliability to this entire approach by simply going through this research ahead of time, coming up with a list of all of your different keyword phrases, which are going to be main topics for a total of 20 pages on your website.